Hey, what's going on, family? How you
Uh,
doing?
What's going on, man?
Doing good, man. Maintaining, you know what I mean, one day at a time. You know what I'm saying?
What's what's your name?
My name is Jacques. Jacques, you know what I'm saying? It's a French name, you know what I mean? I'm from Haiti, so uh,
Okay,
we was colonized by the French. So yeah, I'm a black guy with a French name. You know what I mean?
got you. Where you calling from?
Right now I'm in LA. You know what I'm saying? I'm originally from Boston, but I'm in LA. Been out here for almost 8 years now. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. What about y'all?
Um.
You guys in the Midwest, right?
No, we actually in Texas, but we from the Midwest.
Okay, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what's
From
up.
Chicago.
That's what's up.
Yep.
What's up, man?
Yep.
Shot
All
Town.
right. So, how many kids do you got?
Yeah, so I'm a father of one child. You know what I'm saying? I got a boy. His name is King, and he's 6 years old. He's actually was born in LA too, which is also part of my story. But yeah, just one boy for now, man.
Yes. And so, what was the relationship like between you and the mother? Was it a situationship? Was y'all married?
We no, we wasn't married. You know what I'm saying? So my son was born. My son was born out of wedlock, as they say. Uh, Biggest blessing of my life, though, nonetheless. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And we was together for 6, almost 7 years.
Oh, okay.
Who ended the relationship?
I would say she did. She did. You know what I'm saying? Um, well, the way everything ended is kind of contributes to the story of me just battling for custody and whatnot. But she had pretty much there was some child abduction that took place. You know what I'm saying? And so this happened in roughly 2020, September of 2020. And so for the past 4 years, it's been held pretty much. It's fighting in court. You know what I'm saying? Family court. Well, especially as far as in LA, it's just terrible. You know what I'm saying? It's terrible. Um, and if you a father, you know it's not in favor of us. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
But yeah, it is what it is.
So basically, when the relationship ended, you feel that this is when everything started with the battle between custody. So
Yeah,
before we jump into it, because we're gonna let you just dig, dive deep right into it. We gotta ask you the question. We gotta ask you the question.
Who
So who's
who's
the
the
deadbeat?
deadbeat?
definitely not me. You know what I'm saying? Definitely not me. It only leaves one other option. You know what I mean?
I feel that.
Fair enough.
So, why did you guys split? Like, what happened?
Man, my story is kind of crazy. So pretty much in 2020, we dealing with COVID, and surprisingly enough, there was a lot of relationships that ended during COVID. You know, people are together in a household. Everybody's in quarantine and whatnot. So now you like forced to see this person every single day, minute of the hour. But I thought for the most part we was doing good. And closer towards the end, of 2020, I seen everything just kind of going downhill. You know what I'm saying? The disconnect. But no relationship is perfect, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it was just more so that the disconnect grew bigger and bigger and bigger. And there was also some other issues that took place where she was battling with some other mental illness. With family history of like schizophrenia, you know what I'm saying? And I was
Mm.
noticing some of these signs previously before, and actually trying to get her some help, you know what I mean? And nonetheless,
So,
the
when you say previous before, was that before you had a kid?
well, this is after once we had our child is when things started going downhill.
Okay, got you.
You know what I mean? Once we had a child is when I started noticing that it was really, well, as they say, I was doing my research and I never knew about this stuff before, but it was talking about postpartum.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And a lot of this stuff I wasn't never aware about, you know what I mean, and never knew the effects of having a child and what it does to a woman's body, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Um, Mentally, physically. So I started doing my research, and that's when I started seeing like some of the symptoms that she was having. I'm like, man, she's tripping, like something not right. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And this is not me trying to justify her actions at all, but just getting a broader idea of
Yeah.
what led to some of that erratic behavior. So then it came from there. Um, it came to her abusing alcohol. You know what I'm saying, on a consistent basis. You know, and then from that point, I felt like as a man in my house, I gotta put my foot down and kind of regulate in certain places. Like, we can't be doing this. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And the more that I was being disciplined, the more restriction that I received on her end. You know what I'm saying? Truthfully, once I became a father, for me, it was like, all right, this is life changing. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo, we got to cut back on the designers. We got to cut back on taking trips. We got to cut back on this. We need diapers. We need baby wipes. You know what I'm saying? We need these necessities for our child. So it really kind of manned me up in many ways. Where I was like, I really got to step up to this plate. I'm new to this. You know what I'm saying? So I just had to give it my all. You know what I mean? 1 second. So going back to September 2020, pretty much, it was around her birthday time. I went to go take her out on a gondola ride. I don't know if you're familiar with gondolas, like the Italian boats. You know what I'm saying? The guys on the back rowing, singing songs and whatnot. So we did that. My son got her an outfit, got my son an outfit, rose petal walkway, everything, champagne. It was good. It was a vibe, romantic evening. Um, but when the alcohol gets involved is when I notice, the demons take over. You know what I'm saying? And long story short, after we had the gondola ride, she started getting into like this depression mode mindset again. And ultimately, as I was on the highway driving, you know, she jumped out the car.
What?
Yeah,
Was
yeah.
the baby in the car?
My son was in the back seat.
You said y'all was on the highway?
Yeah, yeah.
Man.
How
You
was that?
Yeah.
know, I mean, I had to stop the car. I put the car in with the emergency lights on. You know, I look in the mirror. I see her rolling and tumbling. You know what I'm saying? Like, like in the movie, like when they jump out the
Yeah.
car. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, for real. This is, you know what I mean? I wish,
So
I wish I was making this up.
before it even got to that point, did you have a conversation with her about that it probably was like postpartum and for her to try to seek the help? How was she about that? Was she
I,
receptive to that or
nah, not really. You know what I'm saying? The more attentive I was to certain things and trying to like get her some help, she was calling it controlling. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And so, that was at that time I was looking at it as my life partner. You know what I'm saying? So I was willing to do anything to try to help her to get better. You know what I'm saying? Protect our family, protect our house. But yeah, and she was telling me before that she was having dreams of attempting suicide and things like that. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But like I said, she has family history of schizophrenia. You know what I'm saying? Her mom's was. So um, it was crazy, man. It was crazy. And so after when that happened, I had to stop the car. I'm getting out, picking her up, tossing her in the whip, and
Did she hurt herself pretty bad?
she was hurt. She was hurt. You know what I'm saying? But there was
Uh-huh.
cars coming, so I had to get her out the way quick. And I'm like, yo, I gotta take her to the
Yeah.
hospital. And she didn't want to go to the hospital. And I'm like, yo, you gotta go to the hospital. But she worked in the medical field, so she could lose her license, and you know what I mean. Like, what
Yeah.
happened? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh
So,
man.
and which I regret. I'm gonna tell you right now, I regret, and I should have just called the police or the ambulance. You know what I'm saying? Because it kind of came back to bite me in the ass a little bit. Pause. Because So before I get to that, so I took care of her for a few days, didn't leave the site. You know what I'm saying? Um, and the one day that I was like, all right, you know what? Let me go to the store. She seemed like she's coping better. Let me go to the store, get her some stuff, get some stuff for her, my son. You know what I'm saying? Bought some toys, some clothes for her, some food. I even bought like a little couple pet turtles. I'm like, let me bring some new life into the crib. You know what I mean? I bought some turtles and whatnot.
That's
Um,
different. Turtles.
man, because out here is different. Like a lot of the Mexicans, they be selling turtles. You know what I'm saying? If you go to
Yeah, I hear
the
you.
alley, you know what I'm saying? They got like the flea market or swap meet, what you call it.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. So I'm over here excited, like word, man. Let me go bring some life into the crib, and you know, I get back and I see the door wide open, and I'm looking all around, and she was gone, and then my son's gone. You know, um, her phone was there too. So at first I'm like, yo, did somebody break in the crib? Like, you know what I mean? The door's open, the phone's still there, nobody's around. But I'm like, there's nothing missing. So I'm looking everywhere, looking everywhere, looking everywhere. Um, and man, I was like, I kind of panicked. I was like, yo, let me check the rooftop. Like, God forbid, like, because she was telling me about these dreams she was having. So I ran to the rooftop. Like, I'm looking around everywhere. But yeah, she was gone. She was gone, And when I finally, I checked, I went to the kitchen and then I seen a note in the kitchen that said, "I love you. I'm sorry. We'll talk soon." You know what I mean? And
So how did that make you feel at that point when you read that and you just came back at it?
yo, I was destroyed, bro. Like I was completely destroyed. Number one, I was worried for my son because
How old was he at the time?
he was like wanting some change.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I was more so worried for him because I'm like, you know, she just, attempted suicide and
Yeah.
disappeared with a child and left the phone. You know what I'm saying? We originally from Boston. We don't got family in LA like that. So I'm like, I'm trying to make sense of this. Like, who, what, where? You know what I'm saying? Like, where could she have
Hmm.
possibly gone? What could have, I'm calling my sister, her sister, her mother. I'm calling everybody trying to figure out what is what. Um, and I didn't get any response from nobody. Everybody telling me they don't know what she is. They don't know what's going on. And man, I was hurt. I was broken. You know what I'm saying? Like that was like one of the worst times. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't sleep,
Yeah.
couldn't eat. You know what I mean? Not knowing where my child was. Forget about her. You know what I'm saying? It was really more my child, my son. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? I'm like, man,
It's safety.
you know what I mean? And so moving forward, after a month and some change went by, so I contacted the police too eventually because I'm like, hey, what should I do? And they're like, well, if you want to press charges, then you can press charges for child abduction, things like that. You know what I'm saying? And which is the last thing that I really wanted to do. But
Now, can you go a little in depth into that, because a lot of people get confused with that, like
Kidnapping.
because
Like what
it's a fine
entails
line,
kidnapping?
because
The other parent.
it's the other parent. Yeah.
well, for one of the first things they kept asking me was, "Are you married?" And I said, "No." And they said, "Well, um, it would have been even more strict regulations when you're married in terms of if the mother could take the child out of the state or not. Which even if the child is born out of wedlock, technically she still can't. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Um, however, when it came to that, they pretty much was saying like, look, if we could do a missing child report, she would get charged for child abduction, things like that. Honestly, I didn't really have it in my heart at that time to press charges on my son's mother. You know what I mean? Like I said, which I kind of regret. I should have. You know what I'm saying? I should have. I should have just, you know. Um, so I started just doing my own research, trying to figure things out and seeing other means. And I did file some paperwork in California as well. You know what I'm saying? In seeking help to locate the child, locate the mother. So I did file a custody claim and whatnot. And so finally, I was like, let me go to Boston. Like something told me, let me go back to Boston because I felt like she probably just went back, somewhere.
Hmm.
So I remember going back, looking around, driving places. I had my man with me. And I was this whole time I'm doing this, I'm just destroyed. Like,
I
I'm
just bet.
skinny. I'm so skinny. Like I can't eat nothing. I'm only drinking
Yeah.
water. You know what I'm saying? Like I was really sick to my stomach. You know what I'm
So
saying?
how
Like
much time went by at this point?
so by the time that I finally went to Boston, it was roughly 2 months. Not a phone call,
That's
not
a
nothing.
long time.
Man, you going all the way from the West Coast all the way to the East Coast? Whew.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And so finally when I did, um, I checked around a few different places and couldn't find them, nothing. And then I had went by one of her sister's place Didn't hear nothing. Couldn't find nobody. Nobody answered. And like later that night, something told me like, yo, go check again. Go by sister's crib again. You know what I'm saying? And I went back over there. You know, they live in the projects in the buildings, and I'm hearing a baby crying, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so I'm like, yo, that's my son. Like I hear him, you know what I'm saying? I heard him in the hallways crying, you know, and well from the hallways. So I went to the
Mm-hmm.
door, knocked on the door. Her sister's husband opened the door, and I'm like, hey, how you doing? Like me and him was cool. We was cool before, never no issues, always respectful. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, hey, it's so and so there, and he was like, he looked at me with this look, and he was just like, he's like, yes, hold on. He closed the door, and next thing you know it, and my man was with me too. Next thing you know it, 5 Boston police officers come surround me inside the building. You know what I mean? And they were like, "Yeah, we got reports. We got reports of an ex boyfriend harassing his ex girlfriend." I'm like, I'm like harassing, like, sir, look at my paperwork. Here's my ID. You know, I live in California. My child's been missing. You know what I mean? This is my report. And it was like, oh yeah, man, but you know that's the mother. That's the mother. She has a child. You know, I'm like, yeah, she abducted him. All I came across the country. I'm not here to cause no harm. I'm this kid searching
Right.
for my child. You know what I'm saying? And then finally, I'm like, look, if she don't want to talk, cool, but I need a wellness check. I need to check on my son. You know what I'm saying? So I requested a wellness check, and they brought my son out, and man, it was it felt good to see him just for that moment, just to know actually know he was okay because I didn't know anything. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying?
Right.
For
Um,
sure.
but it was also like a wild moment because I'm like, damn, I'm over here surrounded by police, you know, hugging and crying on my son. You know what I'm saying? And not making no sense of it. And you know, I then I prayed with him. You know, I prayed over him. You know, just he's covered and protected, and let him know that I'm gonna see him again soon. And so yeah, from there it was just like, you know, and his birthday was coming up too. She didn't let me see him for his b-day. You know, I had my man, he's a godfather. I had him reach out to her family, whatnot, to pretty much try to see, you know, if we can make some type of arrangements. Let me see him for his b-day. That didn't happen. So pretty much from there it was like straight court. You know what I mean?
So the family knew the whole time where she was at, and they was pretty much lying to you.
The mother knew, the sister knew, the brother knew, the whole family knew. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man, it was wild. It was wild,
That's
and I
cold
really,
blooded. Did
yeah,
they? Well, I know you said earlier that mental illness ran in her family. Was it any of those people that you were reaching out to that suffered with those conditions? Because
yeah. Her mother was schizophrenic. Her mom used to be in an asylum. You know what I'm saying, when she was younger. You know what I mean. Her father left when she was 4 years old, which I'm probably I'm just saying, like, I think he probably left because the mom was, tapped. You know what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, he bounced when she was 4. So so she ain't never have a father figure in her life, which ultimately a lot of these
Bad.
circumstances resolve around these women not having a father figure. You know what I mean?
right. And
Um,
so the contact between you two, was it any like um did she seem unwell, or it was just no contact at all? Like when you
so
were reaching out to try
yeah,
to get him for his birthday and different things like that, what was the dialogue like between you two?
no contact. She wouldn't. I didn't have no number for her. I didn't have no address, no number. I still didn't even know where my son lived.
So did
Even
you remain in Boston?
now, I had to go back to LA for work. You know what I'm saying? I had to
Oh,
go back
okay.
to LA for
So
work.
did she stay in Boston while you went back to LA?
Ever since.
She never returned back to LA. But the baby was born in LA, right?
Yeah, so technically he's not a resident of Massachusetts. And so in order to have to become a resident of any state, you have to have 6 months
Right.
Mm-hmm.
consistent residency. You know what I'm saying? So in the meantime, I'm like, you know what? Let me fight this to, you
Right.
know. So also
So
I
that
had
LA could have, well, California could have jurisdiction over the case because that's where he was born.
right.
Exactly.
Right. And so what I had to do was, file all my paperwork, and then I had to get a constable, and I had to make arrangements through my mans and her people so I can, see my son.
So, mm-hmm.
And so that way I can actually have her get served the court papers, you know what I'm saying? Because you have to have proof of service. You know what I mean? And so that was a process too, because I had to like fight and fight and fight to be like, okay, let me see him for Christmas, or, you know what I mean, for New Year. So ultimately, we finally made some arrangements, you know what I mean? And she was like, okay, she's going to drop them off to me. I had to come to Boston, you know what I'm saying? So all this time, I'm going back and forth from Massachusetts to LA just to come see my son.
Man, that's tough, man. You going across the country, bro.
3,000 miles every time, you know what I'm saying? I just came back. I just spent time in
That's
LA.
unbelievable, bro.
Yeah.
We thought 1,000 miles was tough, but 3,000 miles,
Not 3,000 miles, man. And even then, it's like, I
that's
used to,
triple what we traveled.
yeah, yeah. So, finally, when I did have her get served, when we was exchanging him, well, actually, when she came to pick him up, because I was like, let me make sure I do it after she pick him up. You know what I'm saying? This was,
Smart man.
you know what I mean? So, as soon as she picked him up, boom, just had the constable come meet her. Hey, so and so, yeah, boom, gave her the papers. Immediately after that, from my understanding, she went to the police station and then filed a restraining order saying that
Is it a TV or something on in your background?
the TV.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you gotta cut that off.
yeah, excuse me, miss. I do apologize, but yeah, yeah. So immediately,
He running the show, ain't he?
Okay. No, but man, that's wild, man. Why you handling that? Travel 1,000 miles, man. I mean, travel 3,000 miles is tough, man. Y'all don't even,
1,000 miles was tough. So,
man.
not to say that if it was 3, we still wouldn't have did it, but we know how hard it was doing 1,000 miles.
Yeah.
Back and forth,
We
blank trips,
spending
back
a
and forth.
grand before we was spending a grand before we even seen my kids.
We were
It get
spending
tough.
thousands of dollars and not even seeing the kids. Like,
Yeah. So yeah, we definitely understand that.
yeah, my fault, man. So
It's
what?
all
I
good.
didn't hear the question. If you could repeat that, please.
No, we were saying
we were basically giving you time because you paused the interview, right?
yeah.
No, my apologies. The background
Yeah.
noise. I was trying to regulate that. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah, we was just,
We
trying to keep
appreciate
the
it.
audience engaged with just saying how traveling back and forth between different states
It's
is very complicated. It makes the fight unbearable. It makes it
no, it
like
is.
so much harder.
It
And
was
then
terrible.
having to serve someone across the country, and you did it very cleverly, I might add. But that's a whole nother thing, because we know people avoid service all the time and they could be up
yeah,
the street from you. So
Yeah.
serving somebody in a different state
yeah,
isn't an easy task. So that's what we
yeah.
were
That
covering.
yeah, that was very clever. So you said after you served what happened?
Yeah. So after I served her, immediately she went to the police station. Which I didn't, know till later on. I'm getting a letter in the mail saying a restraining order against, me to her and my son. She put my son in it too, saying that my son's life in danger. You know what I'm saying? And so that means if I come to Massachusetts, I can't see him because she placed him under it too. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying?
yeah,
And so I had to. That's a whole nother thing. So now I had to try to fight that situation. You know what I'm saying? But she obviously got the summons, so now she knew she had to come to court, in California as well. But in the meantime, that was something that I had to fight as well in Massachusetts. So, and that took several months. Which, and I'm gonna tell you something about the court too. They sent me the summons for that case, for the restraining order case. However, you could see on the mail stamp when they mailed it out, this was after they had a hearing. So they already had a hearing without me.
So the first initial part of her going for the protective order was supposed to have been to give you a chance to defend yourself. That's the first hearing. Everybody knows that's the initial hearing. You missed that. So they actually granted her the order, but you missed it because of the way that they did it, so that you couldn't come in there to defend yourself.
Exactly. And so I then had to contact the court, and I provided all paperwork. You know what I'm saying? And like, look, I just got this, and look at the date, look at the stamp, like look when y'all sent it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Um, like it was just dumb. It was just I couldn't even make any sense. Like how these professionals supposed to be professionals. You know,
Exactly.
you're sending me something to appear to court for a serious matter, and you're mailing it to me after the court date. So, but ultimately, I ended up getting another date. But since they granted that at that moment, it was extended for 3 years. You know what I'm saying? So that means I wouldn't see my son for another 3 years. You hear me?
So yeah, so you went out for a second, but I guess what we wanted to ask
Hmm.
is the protective order delayed the custody case.
You said was it a
Did the
custody case?
protective order in Boston delay your case in California?
Yeah, absolutely. Because now I'm having to face these allegations of abuse, which is crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like
The
never
silver
no
bullet.
never no police report, never no incident, no nothing like that. In fact, if me keep on
How is yeah? How y'all live 3,000 miles apart? How is she
Right.
in
How did
danger?
she get that
well, what she pretty
specific?
much, in order to justify her actions, like I said, because she was in on route of facing child abduction charges. You know what I'm saying? So in order to justify her actions, she said that she ran for her safety and took my son with her.
Mm.
You understand
But
what I'm saying?
it was a pretty gap, a decent gap in between the time that you left and the time that you filed for the order of protection. So anybody that's in imminent danger is gonna file right away. They're not gonna wait months.
Right. And
Well,
then
that's obvious.
how did they let that stick after they know that they screwed up?
This is the system we dealing with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's
Um,
unbelievable, bro.
which is unfortunate, and it favors women. Especially as being black men. We're guilty before proven innocent. You know what I'm saying?
So let me ask you this. So they gave you another court date, you said, right?
Yeah, ultimately they did. Yeah.
Okay.
Did you
So
have to wait 3 years?
Nah, they gave me another court date, so it was like another 4 or 5 months that I had to wait.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And I represented myself, and then I beat it. Dismissed.
So you're saying at the court date that you weren't there, they extended it 3 years.
They
yeah.
extended
And
for 3 years, but then I
okay,
contacted the court, and I had all the documentation to prove it. And I'm like, yo, you guys mailed this
right.
to me after the court date.
Okay, so
So
you were able to get that dismissed. Well, that's a good thing because that would have 3 years
Yeah.
would have been a very long time. So in the meantime, now that you fought that and got that dismissed, what's happening in custody court in California?
so now she had to appear for the hearing in California. You know what I'm saying? Which, mind you, we had initial hearing. She defaulted, which means she didn't come.
Didn't show.
She didn't
Hmm.
show. No call, no show. Right. So I'm like, okay, cool. Let me file my judgment order. Let me file this. I'm about to get custody. You know what I'm saying? And she still didn't have 6 months residency. You know what I'm saying? So um, the district attorney office was involved too because I didn't have no address. So we still are trying to locate her exact address and
Hmm.
contact information.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
and they was very lenient with her too. And I'm like, they actually gave her another opportunity to show up to court. It was like, well, I provided proof of service. The constable served her. I have all the documentation to show it, but they still was very lenient and gave her another opportunity to show it. I'm like, look, this is a default judgment. She never she didn't show up. She didn't present herself. She didn't call the court. You know what I'm saying? But
Not to mention, it's 3,000 miles away. Like you
Right.
aren't able to continue to keep chasing somebody that's that far away and be successful
And
with serving them.
don't have an address or
That's a
nothing.
lot.
yeah,
Right.
So,
yeah. So pretty much from there, they ended up having another date for another hearing, and this time she showed up with an attorney, right?
of
Um,
course.
mind you, I've been representing myself, number one, I live in LA Dolo. You know what I mean? It's expensive. You know what I'm saying? I'm contacting attorneys. They talking about 400 or 500 an hour. You know what I mean? I'm
Yeah.
like, I
It
can't.
get up there.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I can't do this. So
But to show it with a lawyer because the father wanted to see his kid is crazy.
so from there, when she appeared in court, everything just went man, it was she finally came, and she had all these crazy stories of abuse and how I was abusing my son and all sorts of crazy nonsense. And so the judge granted her temporary full custody because the judge called me a perpetrator. The judge called me a perpetrator in court. I got the court transcript. Yeah, her time is coming soon too. Yeah, believe that. Her time is coming soon too. Everybody that interfered with me being with my child, their time is coming. So yeah.
And when was this?
This is it's the alarm keep going off. This was in Superior Court, man. Los Angeles Superior Court. You know,
What
Van Nuys.
year?
Never go to Van Nuys. Anybody from
What
California?
year was this? How long ago was this court day?
So this is all going on through 2021.
Okay.
This is
So I'm quite sure you have proof that you won the protective order case.
right, but that it wasn't enough leverage at that time, quote unquote, because the show that she put on, she deserves an Oscar. She put on a show. You know what I'm
So,
saying? She put on a show
Did
in the
you
court.
react in court?
Say that again.
Did you react in court? Did you lose your cool? Did you
Nah,
show
never that.
any
Never that.
emotion?
One thing. I looked this up probably before going there. You know, because I need to make sure that I was fully prepped and ready. You know what I'm saying?
But you
And,
didn't know she was going to show up with an attorney either. So that's
yeah,
why I asked, because I can't even believe they let you guys proceed, probably because she was coming from out of state. But they
yeah,
should have gave you the
yeah,
opportunity to retain counsel as well, because
exactly.
to go up against somebody with a law degree, that's pretty tough. Not saying that you can't do it, but you know what I mean.
yeah. Yeah, it was crazy. So not only did she come with these allegations, then she also it was an ex parte, so it's an emergency order. It's an
Mm-hmm.
emergency order to have temporary full custody. But not only just that, she also had another restraining order that she requested in California with my son
Wow.
in it as well. So that means I can't even have my son come to California if I wanted to and see him. You know what I mean? So
That's
yeah,
unbelievable.
it
I
was
mean, and still nothing, no explanation, no
No
true,
evidence.
right,
Phys-
true.
police reports, no
I'm just saying
physical.
between them two, like we know that there's some signs of some mental illness or some type of imbalance hormonally or whatever, right?
yeah.
But I'm saying, how did you become the enemy? You literally left out to go to the store and came back, and this woman was gone with your child, and now it's all these things. And what is the basis? What is the basis? Why do you think
She's
she's
doing it.
doing this besides the mental illness part? Like,
You want to
did
know
you have an
something?
argument? Did you ever, was it infidelity? Like, what's the issue?
You know, I stressed myself out trying to ask that question many times, and I was listening to a sermon, and it was talking about, like, forgiveness, right? And part of forgiveness, not saying that I fully forgive, because I ain't gonna lie, I'm still dealing with it. But part of forgiveness, or forgiveness for yourself, right? Some type of level of peace for yourself is understanding that you will never get the answers to certain questions. You know what I'm saying? And so I
Mhm.
became content with, like, you know what? I try to figure out, like, why, like, you know what I'm saying? But you're gonna drive yourself crazy trying to figure out why. You know what I'm saying? Because some people are just bitter and evil, and that's just them. They're battling with their own demons. So it don't matter how generous you are, how kind you are. They're just gonna be who they are. You know what I mean? And that's just
Yeah.
that. But so that ended up happening, and so now I had to fight that one in California, and that also postponed the custody issue, because now I had to clear my name for this, and then to try to proceed with that. So in the process of me doing that, and also this is another thing. There's something called the UCCJEA Act, which is a Uniform Child Custody uh, jurisdiction. You know what I'm saying? So this,
Mhm.
I filed this as well. So this, sorry about that, ghetto Wi-Fi. So I filed this as well because this would establish and maintain jurisdiction in the home state. The home state is where the child was born at. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Now, what ended up happening is they ended up filing for a conference. So during the time that she had the temporary full custody, because of the restraining order, she then went in Massachusetts because months is going by, time's going by. Now she hit that 6 months mark. Boom. She then went in Massachusetts and filed a custody claim in Massachusetts, indicating that she was requesting full custody. You know what I'm saying?
Don't tell us they switched jurisdiction.
We had a conference. We had a conference. Um, it was an emergency. It was an emergency conference, ex parte emergency conference that they did randomly. They call you within the next day, like, oh, it's an emergency. You know what I'm saying? They call you within the next day, like, yeah, we need you to come on this conference call. I said, what? They granted Massachusetts jurisdiction. Yeah, yeah.
As long as we've been doing this, bro, I've never
Never
heard
heard of
that
this.
ever in my
And that,
life.
and I'm just so blown away. I'm just blown away that they didn't even, like, we know California is tough,
Man, I
but
hear
like
horror
they didn't
stories
even
over
give you
there.
guys a chance to mediate.
They, they,
They didn't work with you at all. And it's like you had some evidence, but I know you said that not filing the actual abduction case and charges
yeah,
bit you in the ass because you could have had that for
Yeah, that was
sure.
leverage.
yeah,
But
man, yeah.
again, who knew? Who knew that all of this would take place?
You know, I could smile and laugh about it now because it don't break me. You know what I'm saying? Like, to be honest with you, if there's anything that I'm gonna say, and I want everybody to know this too, all of these trials and tribulations that I have went through dealing with this matter, I was at my lowest point. I was broken. I was lonely, but all of it only just pushed me closer to God, and I'm truly grateful for that. You know what I'm saying? Because I then found myself reading my Bible consistently every day. Like I couldn't like continue my day without the scripture because that was my peace. That's the only way that I found peace. So I'm grateful for it still. You know what I'm saying? Like, through the good, the bad, and ugly, I'm still grateful for it. You know what I mean? But yeah, they granted Massachusetts jurisdiction. She called me a perpetrator once again. I do have another case that I'm doing. It's a lawsuit, man. I got a couple lawsuits, man. And
So
another
when
thing too, I got very knowledgeable of the law going
While
through all
going
these
through the
processes.
process.
You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying?
this is why we
This how we got
we
here.
deadbeat.
um,
So go ahead.
no, you go ahead, babe.
So let me ask you. So when they granted her that, right? You said you had filed that the form to keep the jurisdiction in California. So whatever happened with that?
Oh no, they violated my rights. They violated my rights. I filed my appeal, and the appeals office, uh, kept trying to deny my appeal through certain technicalities or typos. You know what I'm saying? A lot of bullshit.
Yeah.
And so I'm refiling my appeal, refiling my appeal, refiling my appeal. Till this day, I'm still refiling the appeal because and they're all in conjunction with each other. You
But
know what I'm saying?
you know it's like three levels. I don't got it on I can't think about it on hand. But like after you
Yeah,
go through, once you file the appeal, you got to file it with the judge who made the decision. Of
yeah,
course they're gonna deny it. Then you go over them, and then you can go over
exactly.
them. So you took all three steps.
I had to go to the courthouse first, then I had to file it in downtown. You know what I mean? And then from downtown, there's another office that you send it to, the appellate office. You know what I'm saying? And then once they finally got to there, they're the ones that kept, oh, you're missing this. Yeah, this is a typo here. And I'm like, nah. Like I consulted an attorney, went through all of this, did this all specifically as I'm supposed to. You know what I mean? And so finally, it has been accepted, and so I'm just pending a response from the appellate's office, and I actually had to contact the uh man, what was that? Not the district attorney. No, it was a district attorney's office. I contacted the district attorney's office as well, and I also contacted the mayor, um, seeking some help. And so I was able to retrieve some other resources to actually get that to go through, but I had to go through so many different channels because they kept trying to deny me. Because
Yeah.
in actuality, they violate my right. It's a clear
Yeah.
violation. You know what I'm
Yeah. California should
Yeah.
definitely still have exclusive jurisdiction,
Yes,
saying?
that's
especially with you taking the initiative to file under the act so that they
Yeah, right.
couldn't switch jurisdiction and they did it anyway.
Yeah. I mean, it's just one of those things where I realize how terrible the system is. I mean,
Man,
that's
that's
just
horrible.
that's systematic racism at its finest. You know what I'm saying? Even though I filed my paperwork, because the thing is, they don't expect us to be smart and knowledgeable. They don't expect us to be educated. You know, they might see me come through my hair like this and my shades on, but they don't think that I could really articulate myself and actually um, you know express myself in a professional manner, but not only just be knowledgeable of the law and my constitutional rights. You know what I mean? And so they violated me in many different ways, and ultimately they're gonna pay for that. You know what I mean? And this is why I have no issue being transparent in terms of what I've been through, because there's a healing process within our pain. You know what I mean? So
It
whoever may
is.
be listening to it could relate to it, could understand. Like, all right, you know what? Let me take some affirmative action because something got to give. You know what I mean?
Okay, so now get us. All right, so
Hey, where are we today?
well, yeah, where are we today? Like,
So um, I had a fight in court in Massachusetts now, um, and I presented everything to the judge. Like, look, man, I'm not a threat to my child. I love my child. I'll do anything for my son. You know what I mean? And then at that point, she then requested supervised visits. So, which means that in the restrictions were pretty much like I could only see my son for 1 hour per weekend, which means I had to fly from Los Angeles to Boston to only I had to spend thousands of dollars on flight. I got to get a rental car. I got to, you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
We was just talking about that when you had took that pause. How much money and
Yeah,
expenses we incurred before we even lay hands on these
that's to
kids.
see your kid for 1 hour.
And sometimes we would go and wouldn't get them at all, right? Because
right.
they was holding them. But you know that you only doing this just for 1 hour of parenting time,
One hour per weekend.
supervised at that.
I mean, that's just pure evil. What's going on?
Yes, it's just,
That's just pure evil. You know
torture.
what I'm saying? It's torture. Oh, for sure, it's torture. But you know what? I did it. You know what I mean? I did it just to get through that period
Of
to show them.
course,
And I
of
made sure
course.
every time. I made sure every time because a lot of my guys got kids too, right? They got sons. And so we always try to keep these boys together. And we big on black fatherhood. You know what I'm saying? Like let me say this because a lot of my bros growing up didn't have their fathers. I done seen
Mhm.
a couple of my guys where I seen when their fathers left the crib too. I seen the damages done. You know what I'm saying? And a
Mhm.
lot of my guys that didn't have their fathers, they ended up in the streets, jail, something. You know what I'm saying? So there's a real big effect on what that does to a child. So for me, I'm not letting this happen to my son. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? And so I always made sure when I did have to schedule my visitations for that supervised visits, I had witnesses with me or my guys with me, and their kids, so we can go to some public location, and where I had people watching me. Literally, I got to have people watch me with my own flesh and blood. You know what I mean? That's another type of psychological torture.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
This is my
tough.
it
own
is.
child, and you got to watch in time how much I'm
And
gonna
it's
be with
just
my son.
completely unnecessary. That's
And
Yeah.
that's
even
what
then,
makes it hurt the most. Like,
yeah.
why are we here? Why is this way? For
And
nothing.
even then, I did that. I flew back and forth for a whole month every weekend just to see my son. And even then, they still said the reporter still said, "Oh, he was making comments regarding the mother and doing this and doing that." I'm like, I didn't even speak of her name. So I'm like, man, this is crazy. Like y'all really don't
But
want spiritual warfare, man. That's the only way I could really describe all of it.
that's what it sounds like.
And was it
Spiritual.
a was it a lady, the reporter?
Nah, guy. It was a guy. It was a guy. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
That's tough.
yeah.
Wow.
So did you ever think about walking away?
Absolutely, I did. I'm not even gonna deny that because the stress gets so overwhelming, and the time that takes to, do the paperwork, create exhibits, organize exhibits, file everything, get these motions in place. That's stressful.
Yes.
Then
Yeah.
not even just to do that, then you have to, or I have to make arrangements in Massachusetts to get her served 3,000 miles away. Yeah, and then
Yeah.
I'm like, this, like I said, the psychological stress that it causes, having to deal with the courts, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Denying motions or the supervised visits, and at the same time, really just trying to clear my name because this girl went around saying all sorts of things about me that was crazy. You know what I'm saying?
All
And
because of a lie, though.
of course, not lies all the way, all the way. You
So
know what I'm
like,
saying?
look, all of this money you spending and stuff. Look what this could have been. You could have used this on your child. That could have
Absolutely,
paid for college or anything.
Was you ordered to
absolutely.
pay child support as well?
And then that came,
Mm.
and
Oh man.
and then I got hit off with that. I remember the judge was like this to me in the hearing. Mind you, I was sending her money. Like I was sending money to her sister through Cash App. You know what I'm saying? My man's the Godfather sent money through Cash App. Like here, just because I'm trying to make sure she get some clothes. She left all his clothes behind, everything behind. So I'm like, yo, you need some money. Like here, take care of him. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, anyways,
Yes.
All
yeah, man.
gifts.
Right. Ultimately, they put me on child support as well. That was a whole nother thing. And then during that time, finally, I was able to. I beat the case in California, um, which was the other restraining order.
Protective order. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because in California she requested 5 years. So in Massachusetts she tried to extend it for 3 years. California she tried to extend it for 5 years. So, and my question is really this, right? What type of person, a mother, would really say, I want to keep my son or child, my son or daughter, away from you for all these years? And what is the motive behind that? You know
Somebody
what I'm
that's
saying?
mentally ill. We actually think that bitterness is a mental
Yes.
illness
And
because there's no way all these women in your case, and we know men do it too, and I don't want to hit a whole what about the men. We ain't talking about a man in this case, in this story.
Mhm.
Women alienate children much more than men do. But all these bitter women that have never met each other, not a single day in their lives, are doing the same
the
exact
same
thing.
exact.
How is that possible if this
Yeah.
is not some sort of diagnosis? Like a real, we've heard of terms, and I'm not going to use narcissist because that's just something that people use too loosely. But in terms of being a malicious parent, right? A bitter, like parental alienation, all of these things, it
Yeah.
lines up so perfectly like they having a conference and they telling
Yeah.
each other what to do and how to do it.
Because they do the same thing, same reactions. It's all the same.
And I wanna tell you guys this too, right? Because this I think what y'all are doing is very important as well, because the more I was dealing with my circumstance, I was looking into other platforms, right? And
Mm.
discovering platforms like yourself, and there's a few others that I'm like, and people are being transparent, sharing their story. I was like, damn, I'm not alone. Like, you know what I'm saying? And that's important because you think that you're really alone in this situation. You're like, yo, God, why me? You know what I'm saying? Like, why my
Yeah.
child? Like, why we? You know what I'm saying? But when you see other people going through these same similar circumstances, you're like, oh, I get it. It's bigger than that.
Mm-hmm.
You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I really think, unfortunately, it's when I say it's bigger than that. I personally believe that how the system is designed to turn us against each other, black men, black women, you know what I'm saying? Because, you can't tell me that we come from the civil rights movement, being together, fighting with each other, fighting for each other, you know what I'm saying, laying our lives on the line, and to come to this point where we're just so divided more than anything, you know what I'm saying? And I believe that there's a lot of psychological trauma that was inflicted on us as youth. You know what I'm saying? From the baby boomers to the millennials
As
and
a
all of that.
people, as a people.
Yeah, and that got us to this point because we more divided than ever, And so, seeing platforms like this is important because you guys are talking about a topic of just the destruction of the black family. You know what I mean? And I
Yeah.
don't need to
Broken
be like
homes is
Latino
big
family, whatever.
business, baby.
But
Broken homes is big business.
I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna stop you right there. Like I'm gonna say this. I totally agree with what you're saying.
Hmm.
But as we continue to do this and we keep hearing different people's journeys, man, we have talked to people in Africa, in Europe, and in
Hmm.
Asia, and all across the world, and
Canada,
they
the
all
UK.
they all
Like
run into the same exact thing. Like
Terrible.
all
it's
different
big business
races.
and yeah,
It's
different races. But I know, as a people, you're right. Like we definitely are, black as well, and so we get it. But it's just it
it's
it makes no sense
So could I?
why it's designed this way.
Well, that's what I want to ask y'all because I want to pick y'all mind real quick. What do you think got us to this point? Like what you know? Is it just pure evilness? Or just more evil than good in the world, or like what is it? Do you think?
it's a couple of key factors for me. One, I think whatever you believe in, God or whatever religion you are,
Yeah,
I think a lot of people got away from that because
yeah, yeah.
I mean, although also although you do get people that's being alienated that have been married, but
Hmm.
majority of these situations it is no marriage or nothing involved. And then the second part for me is the love for money. I think a
Mm,
lot of
yeah,
these women,
It's the root of all evil,
yeah,
right?
I think a lot of these women
man,
have been taught to chase
yeah,
that and to go after that. So like a lot of times they don't even know that they could just go to court and petition this man to take
Be
care
a
of his
father,
kids, to be a
exactly.
father, to be active. But instead they always go for the money. But if they go for the petition, they can get the money and an active father,
right,
probably. But they go so hard to trying to destroy the man because they hate this man more than they love their kids. So I
yeah,
think it's a couple of key factors. I don't think it's necessarily
One side of it all
stuff. It
playing in,
is.
yeah.
yeah.
I definitely agree as well. Do you want to hear my opinion? Because you ready
No,
to
yeah, no, no,
jump on my
absolutely,
voice? Want to
absolutely.
try to
No,
hush
please,
me
please,
up?
Nah,
because
you
I
gonna
wanna,
agree with what I
I wanna really
say.
learn.
No, I
Yeah,
was just
No,
playing.
I definitely agree with, definitely agree with that. But I just, from a woman's point of view, like all of these things are true. I'm a female at heart. I was raised by some strong, independent black women. I had a father. I saw a few marriages, not any of that that would, set a certain model or idealistic marriage set a form for me to follow. But
yeah,
I just noticed early on that the black man, so to speak, and not to say that this doesn't happen in all races, because we just said that, but I want to talk about us for a second because this is personal. It's very near and dear to our hearts and what we had to go through and how we were raised and where we are today as a people. And I
yeah,
just think that because to remove the man gives so many entities so much power, whether it's spiritual, whether it's of the world, whether it's without that protection and that solid foundation of the head. Because we
yeah.
know the man is supposed to be the head and we know the woman is supposed to be the body. And we know marriage ain't for everybody, but I'm going to speak some truth.
Hmm.
Take it or leave it. At the end of the day, without a man in place, it's no protection, it's no
Absolutely.
security,
Yeah,
it's no leadership, right? Not to say that women can't do these things without it, because we were forced to learn how to do it. This is why we are in all these societal barriers. Everything you see on social media, it's about us bumping heads, and women are the ones that are being put at the forefront. But why? It's not supposed to be that way. We are
right.
supposed to be the ones that you allow your man to handle this, that, and all that. But they they
Hmm.
they switched the
Yeah,
roles, right? A lot
yeah,
of women are more masculine. Not to say that you can't be a woman and have masculine energy, but I'm talking like literally. And I don't even want to get into the propaganda of gender and the LGBTQ community, because that's a whole nother something else. But I know you feel us. I know you
No,
understand
absolutely,
us. And I hope
absolutely.
everybody that's watching and viewing and whoever watched this video just get where I'm coming from. But I think that all of these things play a key factor in a role of just breaking up and destroying these homes and
You
keeping us broken.
you said something that just stuck out to me. You said y'all was raised by a whole bunch of independent black women, right?
Mhm.
Strong black
But
woman.
yeah, but y'all independent black strong women, like I always heard my mother say, I never put, even though my father was in my life and he
Hmm.
raised me,
Mhm.
she said that I'd never put him on child support, right?
Mhm.
And she'd never do these things. So I hear a lot of women that was independent black strong women back in the day.
Mhm.
They didn't put their kids on now. They some of them had true deadbeats. So what
Hmm.
I'm saying to you is to this day that we have these women that's coming up,
Mhm.
they say that they independent, but they put their baby daddies and they go after the child support. So I
Yeah.
wonder is that like I don't want to struggle like my mother did type of thing,
Hmm.
or like what is that?
Well, even coming from a household of these strong, independent black women, like I said, some were married, some did have husbands, but I feel that they still took on more of the responsibility in terms of being controlling over the children. If you
Mm.
don't let your husband lead and let this man be a father and let this man make certain decisions, then it will shift. It will shift everything. And so,
Yeah.
yes, we
Yeah.
are a product of these women. Not to say that everybody alienate their kids, because I never have, never will. But I still know that sometimes I'm a bit much to handle when we are co-parenting. I
Hmm.
know that I still have some things that I need to work on in terms of allowing him to just be a father. Women,
Hmm.
I don't know if it has something to do with us carrying these kids. I don't know, but I do know that it's just a shift and a rift somewhere where we have become divided. It could have a lot to do with hormones or just like it's so many things. It's a lot of moving parts, but
Yeah.
to get us to the point where we are today with women, these women are so watered down. It's not it's not a substance. And then when I'm saying these women, I'm only speaking of the ones who do the things that we're talking about. Not all
Yeah.
women, not black women, not white. I'm talking about bitter baby mamas, uneducated,
Yeah.
dumb bitches that don't do what's right for their kids,
Ooh.
that's
Yeah.
stripping their kids of another parent that could
Yeah.
potentially help them with
Go
their
ahead and
growth
preach now.
development,
Preach, sister. Go
love
ahead.
them, do everything and nurture them. Like, just because
Yeah.
you push this kid out don't make you it. Because we know that some of these kids is with
Right.
some women that shouldn't have even had kids. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
a
Just
lot of
because you
factors.
put clothes on their back, and a roof over their head, does not mean that you're necessarily a great parent. That's
Exactly.
required. That's required for the position.
Exactly.
Yeah,
There's
and a
more.
Exactly.
lot
And
of
they
and a,
not
You know what I'm
and
saying?
they getting help. They're getting help to do that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so what's your part? Like we say all the time, 50-50. We just put up a post the other day. If it's 50-50 and you getting child support and this reimbursement, where's your 50%? Because then that means that you're not giving 50%.
Mm-hmm.
So we could talk all day and all night. We gonna still have to go live with you on Instagram because that audience definitely needs to hear some of
Yeah.
this good
You know what I want to
stuff.
add to that too is because even I have a sister too. I got a sister, so I'm the youngest. I'm the youngest of three. I got an older brother, older sister. I'm the youngest. Um, I used to be around under my older brother's wings all the time. You know what I'm saying? So I gained so much more wisdom before my peers. Just, you know what I'm saying? Hanging with the older
Yeah.
heads. But one thing that I realized too is that just the whole programming mindset, right? And this is not me to take away from. And let me say the clear disclosure. I respect any single mother or single father or whatever the case may be through whatever circumstances that occur to get you to that point that still are not bitter and understand the importance of the other parent. You know what I'm saying? Like I respect that.
We
But the
stand
one,
by them. Those are the ones that are not part of the problem. They
yeah,
have true deadbeat. other parents that they had kids with.
And the crazy thing about that too, right, is that I kid you not, you know, even in the dating field, you know, I've been single again, right? So I've been outside, like, hey, cool, like, you know, still young and handsome, why not? You know what I'm saying? You know, so I've been dating, but I ask questions. You know, I want to know about you, what your story is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And when I be asking questions and I be hearing a lot of these
Red
circumstances
flags.
with you know with the other parent, I discovered that it's like the deadbeats are living good.
Oh
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
That the deadbeats are living stress
Oh
free.
yeah. They
The,
kids
the
are
the
getting shoved
the
in their
fathers
face.
that really care, that's trying to be there, that's trying to be present, we the ones that's going through the most stress.
Yep.
The deadbeats is over here, they chilling, they might be
Living
passing
their
for a
best
bro, they
deadbeat
doing, you
ass
know what I'm saying?
lives.
But
Facts.
the ones that really care suffer the most, and I'm tired of that, man. I kid you not, I'm tired of that
So
because
let me ask you a question then. So why do you
yeah,
think it's like that?
man. I think it's just hell on earth, man. I think it's hell on earth. You know what I'm saying? And that's why we see, as they say, the good die young, right? Like, you know, I'm pretty sure y'all come from the trenches too. You know, the good die young, and we have seen that on many different occasions. You know what I mean? And I do believe that we all do have a responsibility to reflect the change that we want to see. You know what I'm saying? So if we're not doing our own personal due diligence, you know, within our communities, within our families, but it all starts from the household. You know what I'm saying? It starts from your
Hmm.
own personal household. You know, it used to be it takes a village, right, to raise these kids. You know what I'm saying? It used to be that type of concept where it's like, yo, we all got each other. So I think some way, somehow, we need to get back to that and back to that mindset. You know,
Yeah,
because
because me personally, I don't believe in the village
The
thing. No.
village is helping them keep your damn kid away
well
nowadays.
now
They
it is.
enabling
Yeah.
Yeah,
bullshit.
now, like for me, I'm Haitian. You know what I'm saying? I come from a Caribbean background. You know,
Hmm.
you know, so we have strong morals and principles. You know what I'm saying? And what we stand on in terms of family. I grew up with both of my parents. My parents are still married to this day, going over 60 years. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so
Congratulations to them.
it's a blessing. My father just turned
Yes.
70, and he's looking good too. My mom looking good. But what I wanted to say about that is, so for me, I grew up with both of my parents in the household. You know what I'm saying? And I understood, like, my father, he's Haitian. He was in the military and everything. Like, he was a disciplinarian. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Didn't
he got
play.
to that belt, boy. Like, you know what I'm saying? He didn't play.
Hmm.
But I appreciate it because I look back and I'm like, damn. And I look at my other homies that didn't have their fathers and where I'm at and where they at. You know what I mean? And I'm like, yo, man, you know, I tell my father all the time, like, yo, I appreciate you. As I became a father and had a son, I learned to love my father even more now because of how he was making sure, and I still ended up doing some dumb stuff in the streets. I'll be honest, but he still, there was still that like you had that voice in your head, right? You know what I mean? It's like you hear your father's voice or your parents' voice in your head, like, hey
Oh
man, you gotta
yeah.
get better. You know what I'm saying? And so, and that kind of helped keep me on track, and I'm truly grateful for that. And that's
Yeah.
the importance of what a father brings, that she had mentioned as well, is the discipline, the protection. You know what I'm saying? The wisdom. You know, the
Hmm.
discernment,
That
right?
leadership.
The leadership. You know what I mean?
Because
And
that was
that,
gonna be my next question to you
yeah,
too as well. Like, because you don't hear a lot of men going to represent themselves in court or even fighting in court.
Exactly.
Because a lot of them, really don't understand. This is why we do what we do too as well. We try to educate man
yeah,
because once you educated, then that could possibly give you the confidence to want to go after it. Okay,
yeah,
but for you, you said you went after it like right away. So it's a two-part question. Like,
yeah.
who was your biggest supporter, and how did you get into, the law? Like, because I know you just didn't dive into it not knowing anything, because you
Mhm.
know a lot.
Well, if I'm gonna keep it all the way 1,000, right? When I was younger, I was a little knucklehead. I was a little knucklehead. You know, I don't got no felonies. I'm not a felon. You know, not saying anything about felons. You know what I'm saying? And I deserve. I believe that everybody deserves a fair chance to become productive citizens of society again. Nonetheless, I did have my run-ins in juvenile court, so I was kind of familiar with certain things. You know what I mean?
Mm.
However, family law and other stuff is different bracket, and I understand more too, where to some degree of why lawyers try to charge so much is
Hmm.
because of the knowledge that they know, the
Yes.
ins and the outs. You know what I'm saying? The type of motions they could file. Like, there's a lot to learn and to
Yeah,
study. And I'm
You
gonna tell
gotta
you, I went.
respect it. You gotta respect the hustle
Yeah,
because it's tough. Like,
yeah,
yeah,
it is. It is. So I graduated from YouTube school. You know what I'm saying? And learned a lot. Yeah.
shout out to YouTube.
Listen, yo, shout out to YouTube, man, because I
YouTube
kid
is
you not.
where it's at.
I
Okay.
learned a lot. I learned
Mm-hmm.
a lot. I'm typing in different things, different motions, this, that. I'm taking notes. I got notebooks full of stuff. Like, I got several notebooks, you know what I'm saying, full of notes and procedures, and even jurisdiction, because I'm dealing with Massachusetts, I'm dealing with California. So I'm learning this
Yeah,
stuff from two different states just to know how to, fully operate
Yeah.
and to see the results that I want. So it was tough doing that. But I will say this too, right? That it's important, and it's so crazy because it goes back to, and which has been statistically proven, when a mother when a single mother raises a child, especially boys, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, but I believe it's roughly 80% of the boys grow up to read at a third grade level. You know what I'm saying?
You're
And
not
so
wrong. I don't think you're wrong. I think we've heard that too.
they read at a third grade level, right? So in what's going on, family? So another thing too, the other factor is that, now imagine this, right? And I'm gonna take it back even further. As slaves, we used to get whipped, killed, beat if you attempted to try to read. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so even that idea made me realize, yo, there's so much knowledge and information to obtain, and we are more of a threat the more research we do, the more reading we do, the more of our own investigation we do, the more self knowledge and education we do. We are more of a threat, and that's really what they fear. And so as I started discovering more information and filing certain motions, I'm coming to court and they're looking at me like, who taught this guy this?
Yeah.
Like, how did he know how to do that? I'm doing motions for continuances and this and that. They're like, yo, how he know the terminology. But
yeah,
you have to put in the time to study to learn
and
it. You know what I'm saying? And so,
yeah,
the reading aspect is important. That helped me a lot. Doing my own research. Go Google, YouTube, or whatever the case may be. Going to the library. Black man, get a
yeah,
library card. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. We always tell people to go to them law libraries. They a big help.
Law library. They got one right in downtown across from the courthouse. I got very
Yeah,
familiar with it. Taking photocopies of information. You know what I'm saying? Like, get some books. You got Amazon. You got everything at the tick of your hand. We got the internet, and y'all look like we the same age. So we from the dial up era. You know what I'm saying? We from the
yeah,
dial up internet era. We got the internet in our hands now. So
Yes.
yeah.
take
It's
advantage
no
of that.
excuse.
No
It's no
excuses.
No
excuse. Like,
excuses.
you
Yeah.
know, not to cut you off, but and I don't care if the audience don't like it because they, for some reason, they like to say that we cut out guests off and they want to hear
Nah,
y'all
by all
ramble and
means, by
ramble,
all means.
ramble.
This is your platform. I'm just a guest. This is your platform.
Thank you so much. And I'm not sitting behind my husband, even though I will stand behind him and in front of him, on the side of him, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
The reality is that so many men literally want us to hold their hands.
Yo, how do I do this? What should I do? What should I?
I'm talking about
We
from a simple instruction to
Yeah.
tell you, and I'm glad you're on this platform because if you could do it, if we could do it, if you can do it, now you are the epitome of doing it alone. They may look at
I
us and say,
appreciate that.
well, he had me. Who did you have? I didn't hear you say you had anybody doing any other leg work. We were a team, and it was very hard for both of us to do it together. And you
Mm.
did as far as much as you've learned and everything by yourself. And so they have no excuse. If you can read, read. If you can
Read.
walk, go to these places. You don't need to be a law student. You don't need to be, smart to the point that you can't just go fight for your kids. And so they get
Yeah.
offended
You
when we
gotta, you
say
gotta,
go
you
to
gotta apply
court.
yourself. You gotta
Right,
apply
but we
yourself.
say it with
Yeah.
everything that you said.
That's
This is the message. You're
Mhm.
laying it flat out. You just
And
said
and
everything that
I
you
wanna
did.
say this too. I don't mean to interrupt. I want to say this too. So ultimately, throughout the court proceedings, because I don't want to just, I want to make sure people understand. Ultimately, I did, and she tried to get full legal, full physical. I ultimately did get joint legal. I ultimately did get joint physical. So it granted me 2 weeks per month. She has 2 weeks per month. You know what I'm saying? As far as legal, we have joint legal. You know what I'm saying? So now we have to communicate with each other.
Congratulations,
You know
brother.
what I'm saying? And I
now
appreciate
I want you to break that down. What's the difference between legal and
And physical.
physical? Because a lot of people we try to explain this to people, but I want to
We want to hear from
you.
your
yeah,
Yeah.
mouth.
So all right. And it's unfortunate, but this is how they break it down in the court.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Because this is your God given right. So wow, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
exactly.
That was mind boggling for me. But so she tried to fight for full legal and full physical. So full physical, I'll start off with that, meaning that in terms of visitation, in terms of seeing the child, she would have the child would spend majority of the time with that particular parent, and you would have a limited amount of time in specific time in terms of your visitation. You know what I'm saying? Now, on the other end, as far as
Legal.
legal, as far as legal, if if one parent, let's just say the mother, if the mother had full legal custody, now this strips you of your God-given right. And I say God-given because this is your own flesh and blood. So you can't tell me that you're gonna strip me of my right to what I created. But
Exactly.
in the court, they indicated as if you have full legal custody, the other parent cannot make any decisions regarding the child's being, their welfare, their health, school, financial circumstances, anything in that matter. So if you lose full legal custody, that's a problem.
Medical. So if it come down to
Yeah,
Pulling the
medical,
pulling
plug.
the plug,
They can do it without your consent.
anything they want, like full legal is very
that's
important. I don't
game,
think,
fathers. If y'all listening, he just gave y'all some game.
no
Because
real
a lot
talk.
of fathers lose out at this particular thing right here because they think, oh, I got 50-50. No, you don't got 50-50 legal.
Nah,
And
you
fifty
might have
fifty
some
ain't always
visitation,
fifty
but if
fifty
you lose
anyway.
that full legal, she's running the show.
He's running the show.
She's running the show. So
Yep.
Y'all
that
better
was
make
very
sure
important.
y'all understand that.
Yeah,
That's
But
very
I
they,
fought for
important.
that. I fought
another
for that.
thing, they gotta want it. And I didn't get a chance to say that when I, was speaking on in terms of you fighting and doing your due diligence, having an interstate case, that's even more complicated. These are people who can go fight in the same county, same courthouse, and a child is 5 minutes away.
Yeah,
You and I, we had 1,000 mile difference. You had a 3,000 mile difference, and we still went to court and got what we wanted.
For
So
listen,
sure.
man. I'm gonna tell you like this: they will have to kill me to prevent me from fighting for my son. I'm gonna
okay,
fight to the
And
end.
that's what you gotta have. You gotta have that drive.
Yeah,
You gotta
I'll
you
fight
gotta
to
you
the
gotta
end.
put in that work. You gotta do your due
Yeah,
diligence on certain things, even how to
yeah,
represent yourself, hiring a lawyer. You gotta do the work because you gotta understand if you hire a lawyer, they got plenty of other clients. They not just
right.
thinking about your one case, Bob, but you sitting here at home in this cocoon thinking about your kid all the time 24/7, so that means you got to be the one
Yeah,
that put in that work to
yeah,
submit this information to your lawyer to help him
win
represent
that case.
you.
Yeah.
He's
right.
representing you in the court of law. That's what
I
people don't
wanna, I wanna,
understand.
I wanna cut in and say this too, though. We got to be very careful in terms of the attorneys that we pick
Yeah.
and the relationships that they have, because
Yes.
most of
Yeah.
the time they have relationships with the defendant or the plaintiff,
The
whatever it may
opposing
be,
counsel.
public
Yeah, all
counsel, the
that.
Or
judge.
the
You
ones
know what
that
I'm
got
saying?
bad relationships with them.
The
they going in after they clock out at 5 o'clock. They going to the bar for happy hour together, and they laughing and having drinks and jokes about your case. So you got to really be careful with who you choose.
Yeah.
You know, jurisdictions that they counsel in, and to understand, you know, do they have the best interest in terms of what I'm looking for? Because if you
Yes.
don't do that, you're gonna spend thousands of dollars, and they're gonna pocket your money, and they're gonna strip you for your rights, and they're gonna laugh at you while they're making toast. So this is part of the reason why I said I gotta educate myself and be able to represent
Absolutely.
myself, because I from asking questions and from because I ask questions when I go to consultations and I have met with different attorneys.
Yes.
I ask questions and I want to see what they're gonna say, even though I already know the knowledge, because I want to see what direction they're really trying to go and take it to.
Mm-hmm.
So when I seen that they wasn't really in the best interest of me trying to get my you know, custody or any type of right, I was like, okay, so you know what is the motive here? So it's a paycheck for you. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's a paycheck for you. You don't really care about what I'm trying to get accomplished. You're more so worried like how long. And here's the thing too, right? They'll communicate with each other, and they might file certain motions or continuances, and they might recommend that because they at the same time they're like, yo, this is more hours.
It's dragging the case
If I
out.
could, yeah, if I could file a motion, if I could get a continuance for like 3 months date, that's more paperwork for me to do. That's more of an hourly pay so that I can charge my client and get more money from him. You know what I'm saying?
So let me ask you this before we land this plane, man. What was I going with this? So for you, if you could do this all over again, like, or if it could be a perfect world for you, what would that look like?
I'll tell you right now, if I could do this all over again, and I'm gonna tell this any black man listen to this platform, if a female ever put their hands on you, call the police. I know we come from the no snitching era and all of that, but yo, listen, don't play that. Don't play with your life. Don't play with your freedom. Don't play with your child. I should have been filed some reports beforehand, but you know, we come from a different culture where we like, man, we ain't snitching, we ain't doing, especially for the mother of your child. You know that it might look like a sucker move. You understand what I'm saying? But understand this: protect yourself. Protect yourself.
Because they don't care.
They don't care. Protect yourself. And I'm gonna say this for sure. For sure, document everything you possibly can, because that's gonna save your life. If you don't document it, then it doesn't exist as far as the court is concerned.
Yeah.
So now I don't care if it's screenshots, pictures, recordings, or arguments. And it sucks to say, but we're living in different times. You know what I'm saying? And so you have to be able to document certain things, because if you don't, it's going to come back and bite you in the ass down the line. And I would also say, set some standards for yourself. You know, set some standards to know what you're willing to accept and not accept. And before it does escalate, make sure that you be like, all right, you know what? This is a done deal. I can't continue further in this direction. This is not what I'm about. You know what I'm saying? So I would definitely say that as well. And you know, I would also say too, you know, and I gotta say this is just me being a God fearing man. You know, just you know, prayer. You know what I'm saying? Prayer for me is one of the most important factors, because that gave me the motivation. You know, it says that, you know, if you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can move mountain with your words. So for me, I'll realize, okay,
I'm
I
glad
found,
you said that. I'm not to cut you off. That was my
yeah,
second question is like what did you do to, you know,
Get
help
through
get through
your coping
your
mechanism.
coping
that's
mechanisms for being alienated. So
that's
you
what, you know.
answered that.
It's two things. It's that, you know, reading my Bible, um, learning more of the scripture, learning more of who I am and my power and capabilities. But also another thing that I will add too is find a way to turn your pain into profit. You know what I'm saying? And so I was able to find my way too by doing that, by writing some books. You know what I'm saying? So I published a few books as well. So my first book, actually I have one here I want to show y'all. My first book is called Shifting the Culture, Breaking Generational Curses. All right, because at the end of the day, we're dealing with generational curses. So it's like, how do we break this cycle within our families, within our communities, you know, within our bloodline, our lineage. You know what I'm saying? So so around this time, this picture really represented me and my son. You know what I'm saying? And so my son, you know, when he was a little baby, he had a little fro and whatnot. And so there's a handcuffs on my wrist. There's a handcuffs on his wrist, and you see the chain is the American flag. You understand what I'm saying? So the chain is the American flag, and he's following in my footsteps. But me, I'm trying to lead him into another direction. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But on the back cover, I did want to show this on the back cover. We break them chains. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying?
That's dope.
I like that.
We breaking them chains. So you know, turn your pain into profit. I did have one of my other books as well. This one right here. This is a poetry book. This is called the Book of Jacques, a Wounded Healer. You know what I mean? And you can see the heart is destroyed, broken, shattered, tears coming down, blood, sweat, tears, and years. And you can see some fingers here on the side with the needle trying to stitch it up. You know, but in order to fully heal, this is what you need. And he's stitching it up with love. You understand what I'm saying? So turn your pain into profit. There's a blessing within every trauma, within every hurt and brokenness. Being transparent as well. You never know who else might heal from understanding your story.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So that's very important. And what you guys are doing as well, giving people the platform to be able to speak. And you guys also help me in many ways because I've seen other brothers like myself, and I'm like, oh man, like I said, I'm not alone, and that actually made me feel good to know. So there's a war going on. You know, there's a war going on, and we got to be in it to win it. You know what I'm saying? I'm like I
Yeah.
said, I'm Haitian. I'm from Haiti. You know, we the first Black Republic, 1804. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We defeated the English, we defeated the French, Napoleon, and all of that. So I stand on that. You know what I'm saying? I'm a firm believer in, you know, fighting for what you want, fighting for a cause, and you know, just stand on business. You know what I mean?
Standing on business,
Stand
10
on
toes
business.
down.
Well, we're gonna end it with that. You gotta stand on business.
Thank
Yeah,
you so
we
much
we
for.
might need a part two, man, because
Oh, definitely. I was gonna
yeah,
get there.
we might need a part two. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Word.
Thank you so much for joining us. Being
I
so
appreciate y'all.
transparent and so, passionate in a sense that it's so motivating. Your story is inspirational. It's
Yeah.
it's inspiring. I
Thank you.
know it's gonna
Thank
be
you.
impactful. But yeah, overall, it's just a blessing to be able to be in our space, to meet you, to have people come up, tell their stories, and to be able to help others. That's what we do
Yeah.
this for.
Yeah.
It's not about
Sure.
us. We won full custody, right? So
Man, I mean, look,
it's
man, y'all
and
deserve
it
that too.
wasn't easy.
Y'all
And it
deserve
wasn't
that too,
easy.
man. You know,
And
God
so
bless.
this is our. I mean, it ain't this pain ain't turned into profit yet. It ain't turned into profit, but it's definitely our
No,
pain
no,
has
but listen,
it's power.
I
It's
don't mean to cut
power.
you off, but you guys have planted your seeds. You planted your seeds.
I
You know
received
what I'm
that.
saying, and you shall reap what you sow, and you will enjoy the reward of the fruit of your labor. You know what I'm saying? So continue to be the leaders that you are. Continue to do God's work. You know, and I'm excited to see what develops from everything that you guys are doing. So I salute you. I commend you, and you know,
We take
keep
that.
pushing
Thank you
forward.
so much.
Yeah, no
Appreciate that.
doubt.
Thank you so much. Amazing interview. Definitely gonna hit you up for a part two. We definitely got to get
Yeah.
because we going to the places that we are going in a direction we just don't have enough time, right,
Yeah.
to cover
Yeah,
this all because we have dove
Yeah.
so deep, probably deeper than any other interview we've had in terms of just the struggle, our people,
hmm
how the oppression part of it all that's
Yeah.
tearing out and ripping our families apart and keeping kids away from fathers and mothers and
yeah,
yeah, so we got to do a part two, but that's my
Yeah. Because
takeaway.
we never really dove deep into the fight to get them. So
Yeah.
yeah,
so
yeah,
yeah.
Yes.
This,
Yeah. So we missed a lot. So we definitely gonna do a part two.
Yeah.
it's four almost 5 years of something we trying to fit into a small time frame.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm with that. I'm with that. Let's do that. And I appreciate y'all. and I'm looking forward to connecting again, man.
All right.
Until next time, you enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you so
Absolutely,
much.
man. God
Yeah.
bless. Love,
Mm-hmm.
love.
God bless
All
you.
right.
Yeah,
Y'all,
man.
y'all
It's
seen it, y'all heard it. Like, this ain't for fun. This is real life, real life, real raw, uncut, true hardships, pain. Just it's real. And so, y'all watching, please like, share, subscribe. We're trying to grow the platform so we can reach more people and
help more
reconnect
people.
more families and more fathers with their kids and educate. And this isn't, we're in a war for sure. And it's not like we're promoting, the separation part of things, but the reality is with this line of work we do and where we are in this space, it's just no healthy co-parenting. It's not that type of atmosphere.
Mm.
This is not the type of thing that we're working against. So if you know somebody that's alienating their kids, let us know so we can reach out to them and have them come on the platform and tell us why. Because we get fathers and we get all these, parents that have been alienated, but we have yet to hear the other side. The ones that say that they have these deadbeats, and the ones that say that it's justifiable why they can keep their kid away. And I'm not talking about for safety reasons, because no child should be in the harm of being harmed by a parent or put in a place of danger. But it has to make sense. Because what we see is not what you guys are saying. That's not what we see. So
Exactly.
share, like, subscribe. Thank you guys for tuning in. We really
Yeah.
appreciate you. We see you. Comment, reach out. Let's spread the love. Let's spread the awareness. And let's get down to the bottom of this major, major problem that we see all over the world.
Who's the deadbeat?
Thank you for tuning in. Until
Yeah.
next time.
Peace.